feels like a hot minute since I was last on here. Taken a little bit of a break from YouTube. As a matter of fact, last year I took a really big break from a lot of things, and so I'm popping on here today to share a little bit about what happened with you. So it is a little bit of a personal post. I've really taken some time to decide whether I was going to share this on YouTube or not, but I'm actually sitting here editing a video about taking some time out and filling your soul tank. And I'm editing a video that I was going to share with you in August last year. But about a week after my family left, my family were visiting from America, and that's when I filmed this. I'll share a little bit of it with you now. But about a week after my family left, everything changed for me. I had a really big scare, and unbeknown to anybody, behind the scenes, a whole lot of stuff had been happening. Although I'd been sharing here on YouTube and I'd still been sharing some of my art, I had actually gone through a really difficult year. I had been struggling with a whole lot of symptoms that doctors put down to menopause, middle age, welcome to middle age. And actually, the symptoms that I was feeling, I was adamant that there was more to it, and I was determined to get to the bottom of it. And actually, in January last year, my doctors discovered that I had 3 lumps in my neck, and I had a completely inactive thyroid. And unfortunately, one of the lumps, the bigger one of the 3, was situated in really dangerously close proximity to my larynx. And so what should have been a simple operation to remove the lumps and my thyroid was actually an extremely dangerous operation, because I stood a chance of losing my voice. They didn't know how much of my larynx they would have to remove in the process. And so my doctor put me under observation for 6 months to observe and see what was happening and weigh up whether it was going to be worth risking me losing my voice, or whether, of course, if there was any cancer present, then they needed to remove everything immediately, regardless of whether I lost my voice or not. So those 6 months were extremely stressful for me. And initially I didn't share what was happening. I was still sharing here on YouTube, and I was still, doing art commissions for some of my clients. I had closed down slowly a lot of things in the background that people didn't realize. I had closed my online store, Shedlock Home, which I run with my daughter, a home design site. We sell my prints, we sell, hand-painted homeware. I'd closed that, and there were a lot of things happening in the background. I wasn't painting as prolifically as what I did. And the reason why I'm coming on to share this is because I do think that creativity happens in seasons. And sometimes there's a season where we can be prolific, and sometimes there's a season where things slow down a bit. And I think as creatives, we can be really hard on ourselves when we are in a season of not being able to create. We are all terrified of getting creative block, or being in a situation where, you're never going to be able to create again. And yet I like to think of creativity a bit like the ocean. Sometimes there is this huge big wave of creativity that happens. It's like we've just got so much energy in us. We've just got so much to give. The creativity just seems to flow, and we are in a time of being prolific and creating lots, and it feels easier. And then there are other times, and this is perfectly natural, when we pull back, a bit like the water gathering in the waves, or a bit like the seasons where we have, the winter and the autumn are necessary parts in order for us to have spring and summer again. And I think as creatives, maybe because of social media, because we always see artists creating and they're so prolific and they're always sharing work, we tend to have this idea that we've got to be creating all the time. And I think the thing that has inspired me to share my story is to try and let those of you know who are perhaps in a season where you're unable to create, whether it's through ill health, or whether it's the situation you find yourself in, or whatever it may be, the season you're in. Know that your season of creativity, your season of being prolific and feeling like you just have so much to give, is going to come again. Last year, I was in a season of not being able to create like I should, and that was just purely out of worry for my health. And the video that I am busy editing right now was actually a video that I started filming in August when my family were visiting from America. And I decided to take some time out from my studio to enjoy the environment around me, fill up my soul tank, become visually inspired by what was around me. But in actual fact, there was a whole lot more going on behind the scenes. And about a week after my family left to go back home to America, I discovered that I was at high risk of cancer and my operation needed to happen immediately, regardless of whether I was to lose my voice or not. But anyway, let me share a little bit of the happy part with you, the time that I spent with my family, because I do think as artists that even if we are not in a situation where we're forced to take time off, it's really important to take time out of your busy schedule to refill your soul tank and do things that make you visually inspired. So let me go back to that time and then I'll fill you in with the rest of the details and how I am still here and I'm ready to share with you again. So this week I'm so excited. I have family visiting from Cape Town and I also have some family that are out from America, from Chicago, and they are visiting this week. And so I'm not going to be spending much time in the studio this week, but I'm really looking forward to taking them to a few places around Durban or around KZN and just showing them around. I'm also really looking forward to the fact that for me as an artist, sometimes getting out into my environment can just be so visually stimulating. It really can fill your soul tank as an artist and make you just feel inspired to get back into your creative space again. I think if you're feeling a little bit flat, getting out into your environment and just becoming visually inspired again can be wonderful. So although I'm really looking forward to spending time this week with some family that I haven't seen in a while, I'm also really looking forward to just feeling visually stimulated by some of the beautiful places around me. Anyway, I'm taking you along with me. Maybe I'll show you a few of the beautiful places we go to. Probably won't film my family because I don't think it's fair to film them without their permission. I'll take you along and show you some of the places we go to. I can't wait to just spend some time like a sponge, absorbing visually and just from a sensory perspective, all the beautiful things around me. It's winter here, but the weather is absolutely gorgeous at the moment. So that's what's happening this week. I'll take you along with me. One of the places that I love to visit because I find it so tranquil and calming and one almost feels like you could be under the sea is our local aquarium. It is done up so beautifully. It is decorated like an old shipwreck and you go down deep into the bowels of what feels like a shipwreck and you're just faced with these beautiful big open windows that look onto all the beautiful sea life. The light is always magnificent and magical, and the little undersea gardens full of colorful fish and just beautiful sea life is just so inspiring. The colors and the textures and the light is just absolutely incredible. So it wasn't only for the inspiration of the beautiful visual feast of the ocean, but my niece wanted to give some snorkeling a try, and they have beautiful ponds where you can hire snorkeling equipment and take a little dip and have a beautiful view of some of the colorful fish and sea life that are in the ponds. So my niece got to experience a little snorkeling trip. This undersea world really is magical, like a dance of light and colour, as all of these little shapes of fish glide along, little silvery streaks darting past you. It really is quite magical. Now, I can't say that this part of the aquarium makes me want to jump into the deep blue sea anytime soon. These are rather scary looking creatures, but absolutely magnificent. And look how gracefully they just glide through the water. Shaka Marine World is a magical place to visit, besides the fact that by supporting them, we're also supporting the wonderful work that they do in marine research and conservation in our oceans. Another place we visited, which was really interesting for my niece, who last visited South Africa when she was only 3 years old, was the Zulu Park, where the world-famous Gaza clan take you on a journey filled with rhythm and rich Zulu culture, showing and teaching the visitors how the traditional Zulu clan used to live, build their homes, and through wonderful dancing and gathering together, they teach the audience about the rich culture of the Zulus, which are the traditional clan of the KwaZulu Natal Midlands. It is set in the backdrop of the wonderful Valley of 1,000 Hills. The breathtaking Valley of 1,000 Hills runs the course of the Umgeni River and sits between Durban and Pietermaritzburg in our beautiful province of KwaZulu Natal, which is traditionally known as the Kingdom of the Zulu. It was where King Shaka made his mark when he became King of the Zulus in 1816. And so it was just a few short days after my family left that I had to go into hospital to have a biopsy done and a whole lot of blood tests done again for the doctors to see what was happening and to make a decision as to whether I needed surgery. But within just a few hours after having my test done, I got the phone call that you dread from the doctor to say, it's a bit of an emergency. We need to remove everything. We suspect there could be cancer present. Now, that is obviously the last thing that you ever want to hear. And suddenly hearing that there was a possibility I could have cancer in my thyroid, and unfortunately they couldn't actually test the thyroid until it was removed, that kind of just immediately outweighed the thought of me losing my voice, which I had obviously been terrified of happening. But I'm here and I have a voice, so everything worked out fine in the end. But I immediately had to have the surgery to remove the lumps as well as my thyroid, because my antibodies in my blood tests were sky high. So as you can see, I had the most wonderful surgeon, because if you look really closely, you can see my scar. I literally was cut all the way along here for the surgery, but I am healed and I have a voice. And although it did take a little while to come back properly, and it is slightly changed, and I do feel really strained when I have been talking a lot, or if I'm in an environment where it's noisy and I'm having to project my voice and talk really loudly, I can feel the strain afterwards and I feel really uncomfortable afterwards. But I'm here and I have a voice and I can talk. And I recorded a little bit not long after I'd had surgery to share with all of you, but it's taken me a while to share this video, and I'm not sure why. I think somehow I did share what was happening a bit on social media when I went into surgery, because obviously, you know, a lot of things had to just stop immediately. I also needed time to heal. I also didn't know whether I was going to have a voice. I didn't know whether I'd be able to continue with my teaching community. And so I did eventually share on social media what was happening with me, and I had to take a big break from everything, and I needed some time to heal. But somehow sharing it here on YouTube made me feel a whole lot more vulnerable, and I'm not sure why. As I say, I recorded what I'm going to show you now not long after I'd had surgery. It was about 2 weeks post-surgery that I recorded this, thinking that I would share it. But somehow it's taken me, this was in August, September last year, we're now in April. And it's taken me a while to find the courage to share it with you. But anyway, here we go. I'll share it with you. So there's another reason why I had to take some time off of recording for YouTube, as well as taking a bit of time off of all my social media platforms. And you may see that I have something rather strange looking on my neck. I have recently had to undergo a bit of surgery, and so this forced me to take some extra time off, or time out of my studio, and definitely time away from recording. And I had to have my thyroid as well as 3 lumps removed from my neck. One of the lumps was dangerously close to my larynx, and although my voice has changed ever so slightly, I do have a voice, and I am extremely grateful. I'm also grateful that my tests came back all clear. I now feel like I'm on a road to healing and recovery, but it has meant that I've had to slow down a bit and take some time out, actually completely change my lifestyle. I have Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disease of the thyroid. This has meant changing a lot of the food we're eating, and yeah, lots has been going on. So it has meant a bit of a break, but I hope to be back sharing with you again soon, sharing things from my studio, sharing my art materials, my sketchbook journeys. And I did call this channel A Creative Life, so many of you are asking me to share some of the recipes and things that I've been cooking, so maybe I'll start sharing a few things from my kitchen and more in my home as well. But thank you for those of you that have stuck around. I'm extremely grateful, and I hope to be back sharing with you again soon. And so here I am so many months later, and I feel gratitude in abundance. Actually quite emotional when I think about it, and perhaps that's why it has taken me such a long time to share this on social media, or not on social media, on YouTube. But I do think I want to share it now. I've got the courage to share it, because I think that there may be others out there who are in a season of difficulty, who are perhaps in a season where you're unable to create. know that even in our hardest times, there is always joy to be found. And my next video, I will share with you how my sketchbooks became a wonderful place for me to play and for me to enjoy myself, and became an important part of my healing process. That, along with lots of other things, and I'll share that in my next video. But if there's somebody out there that is in a season of difficulty, know that even the smallest things can still bring you joy. Finding, some beautiful flowers somewhere, there's always joy to be found if we are willing to look for it, even in our hardest seasons. And so if you're in a season of not being able to create, I hope that you are able to look for the things that can bring you a little bit of joy. Look for joy in the small things, and know that your season of not being able to create is not going to last forever. If you're in a season, for whatever reason it may be, even if it's not ill health, if you're in a season where you just find yourself unable to create, know that that's not going to last forever. I'll see you next time. And if you've watched this far, thanks for watching.